Hi, everybody. Thanks for making time for us on a Friday afternoon or morning, depending on your time zone. I'm Sarah Bonk. I am the founder of Business for America, and we are here today to talk about businesses helping to bridge divides in our society and in our politics. We're really excited that there was so much interest in how businesses can get involved in this effort and engage their employees. We've got Kristen Hansen with the Civic Health Project on the call. You're going to hear from her in a minute. Richard Idlin and Chip York with Business for America are on the call today. Pierce Godwin and Graham Bodie from Listen First Project. We're also going to hear from our friends at Microsoft and USA Today during the presentation. A couple of our Business for America member companies on the call, and as mentioned, going to be sharing this with a broader audience. So again, thanks for making time, and we'll dig in. I want to quickly tell you a little bit about Business for America's work, what we do, what we've accomplished in the past, what we're working on right now. So I'm going to go through quickly our work in 2020 so you understand what Business for America is capable of. What we do is mobilize the business community to take action to help strengthen our representative democracy. And we do that in a variety of issues. We care about civic engagement, we care about election access and security, and we also care about the polarization in our political system. That's quite an array of activities, but it really all comes down to why business cares about democracy and believes that the public interest is aligned with the business interest on having a well-functioning democracy. In 2020, we led 270 companies to sign a letter to Congress in support of funding for safe and secure elections last year. You may remember with the pandemic, there was a shortage of funding, and it was exciting to see so many companies step up and speak out on this critical issue of funding for PPE and everything else that was necessary to ensure voter access. Then we also helped recruit a number of major brands and small companies as well to join Time to Vote, which is a nonpartisan effort just to do the simple act of making sure employees would have time away from their jobs to get to the polls and complete their ballots. We're able to attract a number of notable brands and help grow the movement and educate businesses on why that was so important. And in the end, it was almost 2,000 companies were signed up by the end of 2020 before Election Day, which was pretty awesome. Another major activity that we got involved in, we called Operation Vote Safe, as again, there was a shortage of PPE and other measures to keep voters safe in 2020, and businesses took action in terms of providing voter support and PPE. We operated in over 26 states and DC, we're working directly with the Secretary of State's office in 6 of those states. And we also worked with 50 local nonpartisan get out the vote groups and Native American communities, and in total mobilized over $2 million in goods and services in support of the election from the business community. Thank you very much to those of you on the call who actually participated. So next, digging into our 2021 plans, here's what we got going on. We got more going on than what I'm about to show you, but these are the major projects that we're asking our companies to get involved in. On the public policy front, our policy advocacy front, we are involved in supporting the Voting Rights Advancement Act and having companies voice their support in favor of voting rights. We're also working on thought leadership in depolarization. We have a presentation, a webinar series with the Niskanen Center called Divided We Fall. And in fact, the next session is on June 3rd, and Kristen Hansen will be one of our speakers. And that one is going to be focused on the cultural aspects of depolarization in your workforce, in your communities, and how businesses in particular can help to depolarize our social and political divides. And then third, and this is why we are here today, is to talk about employee engagement. When we talk to companies, our members and other companies in the field, we know they're so concerned about these issues around the health of our democracy and the divides in our society, but what can you really do about it? And so we've worked with our partners to come up with specific programs, and America Talks is such a natural fit in terms of something that businesses can support in a variety of ways. Today in particular, we're talking about how you can engage your employees in that. In this wonderful program. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Kristen Hansen to tell you how the whole thing came together. Kristen,
thank you so much, Bonk. Thank you. And I will be in a moment introducing a couple of our other guest speakers. I'll just start with a quick introduction of myself. I'm the Executive Director of Civic Health Project. I am a proud member of the Advisory Council for Business for America, and I'm one of the lead organizers for America Talks. So I guess it makes sense that I'm the person who's talking to you about this topic today. And I just want to start with a note of gratitude. I really appreciate that you all have dedicated time on your Friday to learn about these engagement opportunities for your employees, for your colleagues, and for your communities. So I want to take you on a pretty quick tour of the America Talks event, what it is, and then turn it back to Bonk so that she has an opportunity to describe ways to engage. We have kind of a scaffolded or laddered set of opportunities for you and your companies to consider. And along the way, I'll be introducing you to both Fred Humphreys and Mizell Stewart, Fred from Microsoft and Mizell from USA Today, who have been really important partners for us in the work of organizing and bringing America Talks out to all Americans, including those who work for your companies. So let's begin. I want to give you a quick overview by kind of teeing up the problem. I'll talk in a moment about how we're tackling the solution, but what's the problem we're trying to address? I guess we all have a pretty good feel for it by now. Our divisions are intensifying. It's been a pretty brutal year as far as that goes. A country already moving in more divisive directions, having that amplified by a year of social isolation during the pandemic, and some of the amplifying effects that ripple out through our politics, our media, our social media. These are complex, crosshatched problems that we know that as a nation we need to come together and address. Companies have an important role to play in all of this. And I think I'm probably not the best person to speak to what it takes now for companies to rise to the challenge of facing into our divisions and bridging our divides in this country. For that, I would like to turn the floor for a few minutes to Fred Humphreys, the Corporate Vice President of US Government Affairs from Microsoft, who is also a sponsor of America Talks. Fred, would you mind just making a few opening comments to set the stage for our joiners today?
Absolutely, Kristen. Thank you for that kind introduction. It's great to be with you all today. I will just say that for Microsoft, we believe that Americans share more common ground than many acknowledge when it comes to technology, and that technology can be a unifying force and a force for good. I will tell you, ever since January 6th, I embarked upon this listening session with different employees within Microsoft. And there was a common thread in this listening session of what employees were yearning for, a better, stronger democracy. Big concerns about the democracy fraying here in the U.S. and that just wanting Microsoft, and it was across the board. And these were lots of employees that I had a chance to talk to, just expressing that Microsoft, you all need to get more engaged. And so we have decided to get engaged. And then I had the opportunity to meet Kristen, talk with her, learn about civic health, but most importantly, America Talks. And what really appealed to me that I just think is strong is trying to bring people together. Let's talk. I just love that. Have a conversation. It's hard these days. People stay in their different tribes and don't have conversation. When if you can get them to have that conversation, you find that they have the same common goals. If it's growing the economy, if it's an inclusive economy, if it's broadband access, if it's equipping people with digital skills or jobs of the future or data and security, or wanting to provide the opportunity to expand voting and having that civil discourse, if it's having election security and things of that nature, there is that opportunity to make a difference and address many issues. And what I just find with America Talks is that opportunity to bring lots of people together, have conversations. Love the framework and how you sign up and get the questions and the survey aspect, and then how it's structured. I think it's structured in a way that could be set up for success. But I will end with this. I have been reaching out to a lot of companies, and it's been real interesting on it, and just saying, hey, we all need to get more involved. And it's kind of like this tension within some of the companies. The employee experience I'm having is the same employee experience that's happening all throughout the country with small, mid-sized, and large companies. Employees are wanting their companies to get involved, but they're a little reluctant from the corporate. Doesn't map to its, that shareholder value piece of things. Things have evolved. What employees want? They want strong democracy, and they expect and are looking for their companies to get engaged. So if you're thinking about it, get engaged. It's okay. It's a good thing, and it's how we can make a difference and make result in having a stronger democracy. I applaud what you all doing. I applaud what Business for America is doing. Thank you, Kristen, for lobbying me successfully and effectively to be a strong partner, because we're all in, and Microsoft's glad to be all in, a part of this important conversation. Thank you.
Fred, obviously, thank you so much. And I see Bonk grinning from ear to ear because she's getting ready to take you out on the road to give your pitch to all sorts of companies that Business for America is endeavoring to pull into this effort to be engaged in driving healthy democracy, bridging our divides, addressing polarization, and setting a different societal climate and tone as we go forward. So thank you so much for your partnership. So having teed up some of the issues, the challenges, and how a company like Microsoft is addressing, how are we proposing to tackle this issue of our deep divides through an event like America Talks? Well, what inspires us is the knowledge that one of the best modes for generating warmth and empathy between individuals and to bring down the level of heat and replace it with light is one-on-one, face-to-face interaction. And so we're very enamored of this model of running an event in which the goal is to bring Americans together one-on-one, face-to-face, and of course, because we're still at the tail end of a pandemic, on video to repair divides. We want to lead these Americans through a guided conversation that engenders these insights that we already know. There are several quotes you can read yourself along the right from leading academics who have studied, evaluated, and determined that by constructing the right kind of social interaction between two individuals, even if deeply divided in terms of background and beliefs, you can generate a higher level of empathy, tolerance, and understanding between those individuals. And we're very pleased that two of the academics cited on the right-hand side, Matt Lewandowski as well as David Brockman, are working directly with us to design the experience that we're inviting Americans to have. So let's talk about America Talks. The goal here is to help Americans shift from division and contempt to understanding and connection. Well, what is America Talks and how do we do that? America Talks is an event taking place June 12th and 13th over the weekend, during which thousands of Americans will connect across political divides, one-on-one on our purpose-built video conversation platform for about an hour. We'll kick off with a live stream event, and after inspiring and firing people up and guiding them with norms to drive those conversations, we'll send them off to their breakout rooms where they'll meet one-on-one, face-to-face. Now we know we'll only be able to recruit a certain number of Americans to take this brave and courageous step to having a conversation with a stranger across difference. And that's why there's a vicarious aspect to this as well. So even though the goal is to have thousands meet face-to-face in conversation, our aim is that thousands more will be inspired by what they learn, see, or hear related to America Talks. And this is where it's been so important to roll out this program through news media partners. News media partners play a central role in how we bring America Talks out to the world. And you'll be hearing it momentarily from Mizell, our news partner from USA Today and the USA Today network. It is through USA Today that we are bringing America Talks out to the country. Before we go there, though, let me just, I'm going to come off screen share for a moment and cue up a video. It's only about 30 seconds long. I just want you to get a real direct feel for what the experience of America Talks is like. And we've videotaped some participants from our recent pilot, so you can get a sense of what this is really all about and what it might be like for your employees if they decide to do this. So bear with me for just a second while I cue this up.
There's so much hurt, so much polarization in the country. But for me, it's Go America.
Self-identify as leaning left.
I'm more of a moderate Republican. to be real with you. And we could be real in this room.
All right. Wonderful. So there you go. Those were some participants from our recent pilot, and that's the kind of tone and conversation and interaction that we're aiming to set between participating adult Americans. So we're employing a number of different innovations to make this a really seamless and powerful experience for all of our participants. Recruiting through news media directly, generating the excitement of a single weekend event that will generate media coverage, excitement, that fear of missing out, and many pathways to action following from the weekend event. So instead of that conversation being just a one-off between two individuals, we will then steer participating individuals towards many further opportunities to enrich themselves by exploring the coverage through news media, by pursuing further opportunities to converse through the National Week of Conversation, and engaging in programs like the ones offered by Business for America that you'll hear more about in a few minutes. So lots of ways to keep the ball rolling once you've tasted the power of this kind of connection. What I'd like to do now is give the floor to Mizell. Mizell's going to come in and talk about our partnership, America Talks and USA Today, and how that aligns and the important role that USA Today as a news media partner is playing for us in taking this program out to America. Mizell, the floor is yours.
Well, Kristen, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Gannett, USA Today, and the USA Today Network are proud to serve as the lead media partner for this project. It aligns perfectly with the mission of USA Today. You may have seen on social media the four-square chart that depicts perceptions of media bias. And one of the things I'm most proud of is how USA Today truly sits squarely in the middle. Many of our editorial initiatives focus on bringing Americans together, and we saw America Talks as a perfect follow-up to the contentious 2020 election season. Now, I haven't been at USA Today for my entire career. In fact, I've spent most of my career as a small-town newspaper editor and reporter. And one of the things I learned through that experience is that people's feelings about the media tend to be ameliorated when they actually have a chance to meet a journalist. And I see the same spirit when I think about America Talks, that when you have the opportunity to have a conversation with someone who is different from you, has different values, different beliefs, you have that chance to see what you have in common. And I'll talk a little bit more about an editorial project that highlighted that in a moment. We are activating newsrooms from coast to coast, more than 200 in all, to help recruit citizens to take part in the June event. And we're excited to lend our support to the Listen First Coalition. Go to usatoday.com and look for a question that pops up in the middle of a news story. Answer that question and it will take you on a path to sign up for America Talks. In the 2020 election season, USA Today and Public Agenda, another nonpartisan civic research organization, launched Hidden Common Ground. This project highlighted areas of authentic agreement between Americans on critical issues facing the country. That research and that reporting highlighted that Americans truly want to come together across differences, and they see the current political climate as damaging to our democracy. We strongly believe that America Talks, one-on-one conversations between Americans across difference, can help repair some of that damage. And so with that, Kristen, I'll turn over to you.
Mizell, thank you so much. Again, just an expression of gratitude. Mizell is the Vice President for talent, for performance and news partnerships at Gannett and the USA Today Network. And we could not be more grateful for the partnership that we have forged here and the opportunity to reach into every nook and cranny, every corner of this country, every ideological slant, every demographic. And we're so excited and hopeful about reaching new Americans and bringing a message of hope that bridging is possible. It's easy. And you know what? Might even be fun. You never know. So we're encouraging everyone to sign up and give it a taste. Right, Mizell?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your partnership on this project.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Just a couple more things I'd like to say about America Talks, give you a little bit more context, and then I'll turn the floor back to Bonk. But I did want to say some of you may have already heard of or come across a program out of Europe called My Country Talks. This was the original inspiration for bringing America Talks to our country. This is a proven approach. You may or may not know, but in more than 15 countries in Europe and at the transcontinental level twice, events just like America Talks have run in countries, bringing citizens together in places like Germany, England, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, you name it. So this is a tried and true model. And over again, it has yielded excellent firsthand testimonials, as well as the opportunity to share these stories far and wide of people coming together across differences to discover that they actually have more in common than they realized. And it's really stitching that social fabric back together that this My Country Talks model is all about. And that has been true in Europe for the last 4 years. And now for the very first time, we're bringing this model to America with America Talks. One of the innovations we're applying here for the very first time in the US is the use of a dedicated video platform that is purpose-built for civil discourse. Feel free to go check it out on your own. It's a fantastic, highly configurable platform. It runs in the browser, it's safe and secure, and it can be customized to drive exactly the kind of conversation you want to foster between two people. So while these conversations are self-facilitated, the embedded guide takes people through a very, very well-constructed process for having their conversations in a way that yields that warmth and that connection between two individuals. So we're very excited to be taking Junto to market through this project. We have big goals in terms of participation, in terms of social media reach, and of course, in terms of editorial coverage. We've already had some. We've had a fantastic outing across USA Today, an article, an op-ed, a press release, and there'll be a lot more to come because again, we know we won't hook everybody on this one opportunity, but just by getting the word out that conversation is out there, the National Week of Conversation, the Listen First Coalition, there are so many ways to be a bridger if you have the least inclination to become one. And so we're going to really aim to hit our marks for the June 12th, 13th weekend, and then fan out from there. Now, a moment to thank all the organizations that have made America Talks possible. As you can imagine, this is a Herculean effort to pull together. We want to give recognition and a shout out to Walmart, Microsoft, Bridge Alliance, Facebook, Twitter, and my nonprofit, Civic Health Project, all of whom have funded and sponsored America Talks to enable us to bring it out to the country. So thank you so much to our sponsors. And now I do want to give it back to Bonk. She's going to talk about some different ways and options for you to engage your companies, your employees in this exciting weekend and all the opportunities that flow from it.
Great, thank you, Kristen. So I think that the big question that will be on folks' mind is, okay, this is interesting. How does it work? And as we've said about a number of activities that we have worked on in the past, this is a little bit of choose your own adventure. So you get to configure what is going to happen at your company and what makes sense for your workforce, your resources. So very simply, the very most basic level, we would ask you to invite your employees to join America Talks. And you could do that in any way you wish, whether that's an email to your entire company, working with your employee resource groups, your ERGs, or whatever they're called at your company, to say this is an interesting event. We support it, and we'd love if you would join. And there is a promotional toolkit that we will make available to companies. And that is just the simple level. Help us promote it and help us get more people to show up. But we also think it's likely that some of you may want to take it to the next level. And this is where it gets a little more interesting, and we're here to support you in configuring what makes sense for you and your company. So after you ask your employees, you would invite them to participate. You would then ask them to let you know that they have signed up. And then it would make sense to host some kind of a post-event discussion, a facilitated conversation about those experiences. I think that could be super interesting to have employees saying, oh, I spoke to someone, I live in Manhattan and I spoke to someone in rural Kansas or what have you. And here's what I learned and here's what I got out of the experience. Maybe that is a small discussion on Zoom. Maybe it's a larger town hall that many companies now have in our increasingly digital workforce. And We have a discussion guide that will be available. Of course, you're welcome to formulate your own set of questions and facilitate that conversation how you wish. And we can also provide some support with facilitating the dialogue if you wish. We can be flexible and help you out on that. And then you may also wish to survey your employees afterwards and see how it went, get their opinions, and see what else they might want to do or have your company do when it comes to this bridging work. What are the benefits? Well, we think there are many, and of course it depends on you and how you look at the issue and how you want to engage your employees. But here's a list that we came up with. So, of course, the main thing is that one of the benefits is that it allows you to help overcome division in your workforce and in your community. As people are learning how to talk with people that are different from them, we think that is just always going to be valuable. We've had some folks that have participated in this and similar activities who said it helped them at home with their families. So we don't really see any downsides here in terms of overcoming division. But of course, when you are involving your employees, there's that employee engagement, ERG engagement that makes your employees more engaged as workers. It can, there's an ROI when it comes to involving your employees in activities and showing them that you care about society and getting them involved in assorted activities. So employee engagement is a big one. Beyond that, this is another way for you to demonstrate your commitment to civic engagement and democracy. For those of you that participated in Time to Vote or other means of talking about, caring about voting, caring about civic participation, this is yet another way to demonstrate that commitment. But it's also a demonstration of your commitment to DEI. A lot of times we think about certain forms of diversity, and our political differences, our social differences, our demographic differences are all forms of diversity. And this is a really interesting way to raise awareness of and ability to connect across a very certain type of DEI, which is our political and social differences. And finally, we really, as we were thinking about this, we thought, gosh, you know, when you are, when you're in the business of understanding customers and clients and their mindset and why they support your business or choose a different business, this is a really interesting way to get to know folks that are different from you. Again, like think about this, like Manhattan versus Kansas divide. You know, somebody who's in an office in a big city may not quite understand the calculus politically and socially as somebody else is making in a different part of the country. And to gain a little better understanding of that, maybe not a full understanding, but even a little bit of insight there could be a really valuable thing. Another question that we thought of is an important one. What does this cost? There is no cost to participate in America Talks for anyone. And so you are welcome to invite your employees to join, take part. We would welcome that. Of course, we would love if you would also choose to sponsor the event. There are a variety of sponsorship levels that will fit your company. We are happy to have a conversation about that. But today it really is about how we can get your employees involved. And finally, how do we sign up our company? Well, you just reach out to me, bonk@bfa.us, and we will get you signed up. As we involve more and more companies, we're also going to figure out how we might be able to share best practices and tools and make this as easy and positive an experience for you and your company and your employees for that matter. So those were the questions that we anticipated. I'd like to open the floor. You are welcome to unmute yourself and ask any other questions of me and Kristen. We are here to answer them.
Well, feedback's welcome too. Any thoughts folks have? What did you react to? What inspired you? What do you still have kind of lingering questions or concerns about that we might be able to address? We'd love to hear it all.
It was a great presentation, really thorough. Thank you so much. I think the thing that stuck out to me most was being able to build on the success that we've already seen overseas and using that to unite the country and replicating what's working well and maybe building upon where they experience challenges. So thank you for pointing that out.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Yes, and you know, the My Country Talks team isn't with us on the call today, but like Microsoft, like USA Today, they've been such an important partner in this whole process, and not just an advisor, but we are using their software, their sign up and matching software. So when Mizell earlier was talking about how one of the ways you can sign up being just reading an article on USA Today, we didn't spend a lot of time on this today, but one of the biggest ways that people are finding America Talks and signing up for it is through this recruitment widget, if you will, that appears embedded within a news article. So you're reading USA Today or one of the USA Today network publications. It's an article on local news or politics, and a one question survey comes up. And it might ask you, for example, do you approve of the job Joe Biden is doing as president? Yes or no? If you answer, whichever way you answer, a second screen comes up and it says, great, we'd love to hear more about your perspectives. And then 6 more questions are served up that are designed to suss out different backgrounds and beliefs. So a total of 7 questions. The next screen that comes up says, great, we're so pleased to know these things about you. How would you like to have a conversation with someone who thinks differently about these issues? And then the invitation process begins to invite folks to sign up and join the conversation event, the main event being on Saturday, June 12th, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then we're also hosting a backup event on Sunday, June 13th, where we'll rerun the program for anyone who couldn't make Saturday. But that's basically the widget-based recruitment process and one of the key innovations that we've leveraged and that has worked well in the European program. Thanks, Jennifer. Really appreciate that observation.
Great. Anyone else?
So Kristen, I have a question. Hi, this is Chip York.
Oh, hey, Chip.
Yes. Hi, nice to see you.
You too.
So I know that like these types of conversations can be kind of scary for a lot of people. And especially if you know that you're going to be being part of a conversation where you automatically know you might have some disagreements. So can you kind of describe to some of the companies like how we can kind of maybe allay some of that nervousness or those things that people might think about? And also like how are these conversations moderated?
Excellent. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Chip. You are right. I mean, it is a little bit of asking people to perform without a net because we don't have a third person in the room with them. That just wouldn't scale, right? So we put them on the video platform, but they're not completely without guardrails, not at all. There are I would say two major things I'd like to emphasize as the guardrails that we do place around the experience. The first is that when you show up to the event on Saturday, June 12th, 1 p.m. Eastern, the first thing that happens is you go straight into a live stream. And I mean, we've pulled out all the stops on this. It's a very highly produced, punchy, inspiring program that is also designed to set the norms and guidelines for these conversations. So there's a brief training and coaching period that precedes the conversations. That live stream in total takes about 20 minutes is the program length, after which time we send folks off in their pairs to breakout rooms, just like a Zoom breakout room, okay? So you've just watched the live stream and it's encouraged you to bring your best self to the conversation, and that's been modeled to you. But the second thing that happens is when you go into your conversation room, you have the audio and video, but you also have this embedded conversation guide, and it walks you step by step through the conversation with very specific prompts. The way we've designed this is based on years of experience in the bridge building field about what the shape of a conversation like that should be. And generally, a conversation like that starts by reiterating the norms yet again about listening, being open-minded. It's not a debate, it's a conversation. And a real emphasis on listening and perspective sharing. Then you go to a round of a couple of simple warm-up questions that are an opportunity to tell stories that people will connect around. I don't know if this is exactly the question we'll use, but an example would be, tell a story about your favorite grandparent. It's a way to open up, start to learn a little about each other's backgrounds in a very non-intimidating way. Then we move to, what we might call the meat of the conversation, which will be 3 conversation prompts. The first one is likely to say, what made you decide to do America Talks? What inspired you? What brought you to the table today? So they have an opportunity to share what they might be concerned about, what's on their mind about division in our country. And then a couple of questions that get a little bit more political in dimension, but not around policy issues. So we're not asking 2 people to go at each other about immigration or free speech or anything like that. It's a conversation about people's hopes, values, and aspirations for the country as we go forward. So I hope that gives you a flavor for the kind of conversation that we're guiding people to have. We know that people may deviate from that, usually in very good ways. Usually something happens in the opening round. Oh, your grandmother is from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, so is mine. And suddenly it goes in a completely different direction. We can't control for that altogether, but we can set these parameters.
Great. Well, thank you.
And
Thanks, Jeff.
Kristen, I think you had some metrics on how many people had a positive experience and said it was, a valuable use of their time. Do you have those numbers in front of you?
Thank you. I didn't include the pilot slide in here, but we've run 2 pilots this winter and spring, and we've surveyed individuals on their experience. And without a doubt, the self-reported experience of whether people would do it again is over 90%. And the expression of whether they felt that they were truly heard and understood in that conversation is over 80%. So we get really, really great feedback from the survey research on this and from the 2 specific pilots that we ran. And that's pretty consistent with what Europe's surveyed responses and outcomes have been as well.
Great. Yeah, I think that was really useful information. Yeah. Any other questions, comments, things to react?
Hi, is John Palmer here.
Hey, John.
Thank you so much for the presentation today, Bonk and Kristen and others that presented. It's really, really great concept. I love it. My question is, if a company is quite small, and it sounds like there might be a little bit of a fixed cost, not dollar cost, but of getting it set up so that employees can participate. Do you have a version where you can just sort of, an employee could just click on a link and they're signed up, independently, almost as if they're not even associated with a specific company?
Bonk, do you want to take that, or?
Yes, I mean, I guess that is something that it's important to clarify. When you invite your employees to sign up, they're going into the pool with everybody else in America. So you're really
it's as simple as them going to the website, americatalks.us.
Okay, so there's no setup cost for a company to participate.
No.
Only if you wanted to wrap more offerings around it, John. Some of what Bonk had outlined as far as the possibility of surveying your employees afterward, or maybe holding a town hall or some kind of a debrief with your employees. You could do those things, but you absolutely don't have to. It's as simple as routing them to the sign up at americatalks.us.
Right.
Some of them may already be signed up because they might have found it by reading USA Today.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Good question, John. Thanks for helping us clarify that.
Yep. These are all really good questions. Thank you.
I guess folks are paying attention. That's great. All right. Anything else? Pierce and Graham, did we miss anything?
No, beautiful. I did just get a note from Josh, who's so graciously worked with us from Walmart, and he was sorry that he wasn't able to make it today, but said to please convey how excited Walmart is to support this with their sponsorship, and that they would love more friends to get in on the party.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Well, Kristen, unless you have anything else to add, I think I'll take us out here. Great. So just a couple of final thoughts here. Again, thank you all for joining us. I think that one point I want to make is that this is part of a much bigger picture, a much bigger story around businesses that care about the polarization in our society and in our politics and want to do something about it. Business for America is all about taking action and doing that as businesses. And so this is one, we just think, awesome opportunity. It's something that has so many upsides, and we really hope you'll get involved. And we really hope you'll also think about what else can we do. There was a slide up, Kristen had the slide up just a minute ago. We are offering other ways to get involved through our series on depolarization, Divided We Fall. We'd invite you all to sign up for that, but we're also looking to longer term offer additional trainings and learnings among your workforce to learn how to have better arguments, to listen first, and ways that we will help bridge divides in our workforce, which will then also help spread that among our society, we believe. And stay tuned, because we'll have lots of additional programs in the future. But your involvement, your leadership, your feedback is going to be incredibly important to us as we start to shape these programs and deliver things that are important to you as a business and important to our country. So thank you again for joining us. Again, bonk@bfa.us. I think y'all have been emailed by me now at some point, and you're welcome to reach out at any time. We're here to make this easy for you. So just let us know how we can do that. And I hope we'll hear from you soon. Thanks everybody for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so
Thank
much.
you all.
Thanks so much, Bonk.
Thanks, myself. Thanks, Bonk.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Great to meet you.
Take care.
Great. Bye-bye.